One of the reasons why Cobra Kai is such a huge success is quite simple. It has gone against every expectation and even forced us to change perspective. So what are some other things we didn't know? Let's take a look at some cast secrets fans didn't know about. To start with, the cast of Cobra Kai do most of their own stunts. All the actors in Cobra Kai have, at the very least, some basic knowledge of the martial arts by now. Some of the younger ones had never done anything like it before and are learning on the spot from some of the best stunt coordinators in the field. But all actors have daily training in the martial arts so that they can do as many of the stunts themselves. Despite the fighting scenes being extremely complicated, they don't have a lot of time to learn the sequences. This does mean that sometimes there are some accidents, though most of the time, these aren't too bad. For example, Peyton List was kicked in the head by Samantha LaRusso during a scene where they had a fight in the school corridor. Tanner Buchanan wasn't as lucky. He lost 2 teeth while shooting his last fight scenes, which must have hurt extra much knowing that his mother actually is a black belt in karate. Next, we're taking a look at William Zabka and Ralph Macchio, friends or foe. Fiction is often nothing like reality. Actors Ralph Macchio and William Zabka may have been enemies in the Karate Kid universe from the moment they met, but in real life, it's been quite the opposite. They have been great friends ever since the Karate Kid back in 1984. Of course, back then they were still young, and they have both walked their own paths, but when Pat Morita, who played the role of Mr. Miyagi, passed away, they found themselves reconnecting. Their off-screen relationship is probably the biggest reason why their banter in Cobra Kai is so believable and endlessly entertaining to watch. It stems from a true friendship that has existed for years and gives the actors a feeling of comfort with each other that is needed to reach the genuine chemistry on screen. Following, Elizabeth Shue hadn't agreed to a star in Cobra Kai when they teased that Ali would be in Season 3. In the finale of Cobra Kai Season 2, when Johnny throws his phone away after the fight between his son and his star pupil, there's a shot of his phone that shows he received a friend request from Ali, played by Elizabeth Shue, on Facebook. This implied that it had been confirmed that she would be on the show, and fans were excited to see her come back. But even though there was a willingness from Shue, she hadn't actually agreed to anything yet. What finally convinced her was the real reason why the creators wanted her back so badly. Josh Heald, John Hurwitz, and Hayden Schlossberg were never satisfied with how Ali's story ended, and were determined to fill in that major hole of the Karate Kid canon. They wanted to find a way to give Ali her own side of the story without turning Daniel into a liar. But what if Shue had declined? In that case, Heald told Insider that there was a nuclear option that they didn't take very seriously. But the plan was to then have Johnny talking with Ali on Facebook, but it turns out it is her jealous husband who broke into her account to catfish Johnny. Luckily, they never had to go there because Shue agreed to join the cast, and Ali finally gets a chance to tell her side of the story. To come, Vanessa LaRusso is portrayed by Ralph Macchio's real-life daughter. Cobra Kai is all about family, and family is just as important behind the scenes. In Season 4 of Cobra Kai, we were presented with the first big arc for Anthony, Daniel's son. In fact, things go downhill so far that Louis LaRusso proposes to Daniel that Vanessa LaRusso, one of his cousins, could help figure out what is wrong with Anthony. And this is where we meet Julia Macchio, the daughter of Ralph Macchio in real life. Both cast and creators were happy to have Julia on set. She gave everyone a good laugh with her criticism of Daniel's parenting, but sadly, it was only a cameo. But not everyone has realized that Vanessa is in fact portrayed by Ralph Macchio's real daughter. Julia's appeared in a few independent movies so far, so it wasn't her first time on screen, but it was the first time she shared a scene with her own father. Don't go anywhere because there are still a few surprising secrets to be revealed. Do you know which of Mr. Miyagi's cars made it onto Cobra Kai? Or what William Zabka is willing to do to keep doing his own stunts, for better or worse? You'll find out in the next part of our video. Next up, the pictures of Johnny for his Facebook page are real pictures of William Zabka. In Season 3, Episode 6, Miguel helps Johnny out with his Facebook page by posting some pictures. The pictures that show up are absolute gold and left many wondering whether they were real or Photoshop, but the creators have admitted to Insider that they are in fact all real. Back in the day, William Zabka was a real heartthrob. He was often seen in teen magazines. When they asked Zabka if he still had some of these pictures, it turned out that he did, but in none of them he had a shirt on. They thought this was hilarious, and it led to the creators writing the line, "Do you have any where you're wearing a shirt?" for Miguel. Of course, the one where he does wear a shirt can hardly be called a shirt. The 1980s sure had some interesting fashion, not that we mind, and now Ralph Macchio took Mr. Miyagi's lessons home. In Cobra Kai, there's a lot of focus on the relationship between a sensei and his pupil, and the long-lasting effect it has on the pupil. This has proven true not just for the people in the movies and the show, but has bled into the real lives of some of the actors as well. Ralph Macchio has always had a deep personal appreciation and respect for Mr. Miyagi's philosophy, and he even used certain phrases choices in teaching with his own children. We don't blame him. There's a reason Mr. Miyagi made such a deep impression on people, especially kids all around the world. There is something to be said for his teachings. It looks like Mr. Miyagi's lessons will live on for a very long time still. Next up, did you know the Ford Super Deluxe convertible is the real deal? Though it was never said in so many words, Mr. Miyagi's collection of old-timers may have hinted to him being a serious car fanatic. The collection was used through all 3 of the Karate Kid movies, and fans were glad to see many of them return in Cobra Kai. One of them is missing. Searching high and low, the creators failed at finding a Pontiac Woody wagon, and so were forced to let it go. The other ones aren't exactly the same as the originals either, most of them being replicas, except one. Everyone remembers Mr. Miyagi letting Daniel take the beautiful yellow Ford Super Deluxe convertible for a night out with anyone he wants on his birthday, if not the famous wax on, wax off scene. This car ended up being gifted to Ralph Macchio when the second movie had just been released. Much like Mr. Miyagi, it ends up collecting dust in Macchio's garage, but it looks like this might have been the best thing that could have happened. With Cobra Kai bringing the Karate Kid back to life, Macchio insisted the real deal was brought into action. After so many years of disuse, a full restoration was needed to bring the car back to life, and it was given a few updates as well. It got new brakes and suspension, the engine was swapped for a Ford 302 racing engine, and the transmission was changed from the old 3-speed manual to a C6 automatic. But it is the real deal. And at last, William Zabka broke his toe on Cobra Kai. As mentioned before, the cast of Cobra Kai does most of their stunts on their own and take great pride in it as well. But William Zabka might be the one who goes to the most extreme lengths. While rehearsing fight scenes with Martin Kove, who plays Cobra Kai sensei John Kreese, Zabka suffered several injuries. He kept quiet about them because he was afraid that production would force him on the bench so his stunt double could take over. The worst of these injuries was probably a dislocated toe that happened after making contact with Kove's foot. Zabka eventually admitted it to a group interview at the Paley Center. He described the pain like having a knife being jammed up in his foot. No wonder, as apparently the toe all but disappeared into his foot. His stunt double was ready to jump in, but Zabka wanted to avoid that from happening, literally at any cost. So he just pulled it back out and went on with the scene. Talk about a badass. And that's a wrap. Secrets are behind the scenes and the cast of Cobra Kai. Which one surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments, and thanks for watching.